Hey folks, this is Sean Gnosis. It's been a while since I made a video, but today I'm going to show you how I graft the American apple trees here in Jamaica. Now, when it comes to grafting apple trees, these are some of the essential tools and materials that you will need. Well, first and foremost, the cyan wood, the budding knives, and parafilm tape, and also labelers and alcohol, a very sharp pruner, and also safety gloves, and rubber bands. A word of caution, if you want to avoid injuries like this, it's highly recommended that you wear safety gloves. So to begin, what I'm going to do the first grafting technique called a cleft graft. This will be done on a 1-year-old seedling rootstock. If possible, one of the main things I try to do before I start my graft is to ensure that the cyan wood and the rootstock are of the same diameter. In my opinion, this increases the odds of the grafts taking. Now we're going to make 2 even tapered cuts, one on each side. I recommend using a Felco budding knife for this process. It's very sharp and very easy to use. Now we're going to make a cut in the center of the rootstock. I want the length of the cut in the rootstock to be similar to the one on the cyan wood. When you're placing your cyan wood into the rootstock, you want to ensure that both edges of the cuts are aligned and touching. This is where the cambium layers meet. After doing that, I recommend sealing the graft with parafilm. The reason being, parafilm is one of the more modern and efficient ways of sealing your grafts. In a nutshell, what it does is that it ensures that moisture does not get in or get out. Because of the tropical climate, parafilm tends to deteriorate more faster, and to negate this, I tend to add an elastic rubber band to provide additional structural support against wind or animal damage. Next, we're going to do another grafting technique called the modified cleft graft. This is where the cyan wood is a little bit more smaller than the rootstock. In comparison to the first method, as it relates to the rootstock, we won't be making the cut in the center. Instead, we'll be making the cut at the very edge. Likewise, in comparison to the cyan wood as before, only 1 tapered cut will be made. And just like before, I try to ensure that all the edges are aligned, at least on one side. Try to remove any buds at the top of the rootstock where the cut is made. It doesn't really matter, but this time I'll be adding the rubber bands first before the parafilm, just to add a little variety. The tighter the wrap, the more likely the graft will be successful. And most importantly, don't forget to label your graft. This is King David. Now we're going to do some chip budding. This is one of my most favorite grafting techniques. With this technique, one scion would provide you with a minimum of 5 chances. Compared to the cleft graft, you only get 2. Now, to remove a bud, you make a cut below one of the buds, and then after that you make one at the top, and gently wrap the knife until you reach the first cut. Next, you're going to make a similar cut, if possible, on the rootstock. If the cut on the rootstock is a little bit bigger than the chip bud, try and align the bud on one side. This ensures that there is some cambium contact and thus increases the chances of your graft sticking. Most importantly, don't forget to wrap tightly with your paraflare. Please note, one major issue with paraflame is that it tends to break easily. So you have to be a little bit gentle when handling it. And also, don't forget to add your elastic rubber band for added support. Here is another example of a chip budding method. Both cuts are perfectly matched and aligned. As a precautionary measure, you can also add a aluminum foil to protect from extreme heat. This is a perfect example of a multi-graft chip-bodied apple tree with 5 varieties. One of the grafts are just beginning to break dormancy. This is a variety called Gold Rush. Now this is an example of a pink lady chipbud graft made 9 inches above the rootstock. As it begins to break dormancy, I usually make a cut right above the bud. After I make the cut, I typically add a little graft sealer to protect the wound from the elements. Here are some examples of some of my successful grafts during the season. So this variety is called Hawaii. And here again, here's the multi-graft Franken tree. Fuji being the main leader, of course. Very vigorous. Also, here we have the vigorous winter banana. And here's pink lady showing perfect growth 1 month later. "2003 will be the year that I challenge myself to grow over 2,000 seedling rootstocks. However, it won't be easy. As you can observe, the aphids are giving me a warm time. But hopefully by the end of the year, we'll see some progress with the grafts, and hopefully I can get some cuttings from them to graft on our new seedlings once they reach up age.